that when you hear the long E sound at the end of words, it's usually going to be spelled with a Y. That is true. Emphasis on the usually, because what you're going to learn today is EY. EY spells the same sound at the end of words, like turkey, monkey, valley, money. So this EY is a less common but also accurate way to spell the E sound at the end. So here's the question, the $1,000,000 question. When do you use Y and when would you use the EY? Is there any way to know for sure which one to use? There are some, yes, there are some patterns that EY typically follows. However, it's not 100% of the time, but it will give you the best educated information to base your spelling off of. So here it is. EY usually comes at the end of nouns. Look at the words above. Turkey, monkey, valley, money. Those are nouns. And it usually comes after an N, a K, or a double L. Okay, so this is stuff for your notebook. EY usually comes at the end of nouns, and it usually comes right after an N, a K, or a double L. So there are some exceptions. So Y is often found at the end of descriptors like happy, crazy, silly, badly, sadly, happily, right? Those are all descriptive words. Sometimes it can come at the end of nouns, but most of the time, this is going to be your pattern that you can fall back on if you're wondering. Y is going to be the usual. Y is probably in 80% of the time. EY, maybe a 20% of the time. And when it does, it's usually after a noun, and it's usually after a word with an N, a K, or a double L. All right, so let's do some practice. So we're going to pretend that your words today are all nouns, okay? When does Y say I? Good question. Y says I at the end of one-syllable words, like this. Buy, try, shy, cry, my. So when Y comes at the end of one-syllable words, it will say I, and that's going to be a lesson soon in this month. You're going to learn all about that. But just to answer your question, Y will say I at the end of short words, and it will usually say E at the end of longer words. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to pretend that these words are all nouns because they're nonsense words, just to keep your mind refreshed on that little hint on when to use EY. So the first word that I want us to spell together is trelly. Trelly. So I'll do this one with you. So we have T-E. Consonants first. T-E. K. Can't be spelled with an E here because requires two consonants. So I'm going to need to put the double L after it. It can be spelled with an E as long as there are two consonants after it. If there's not two, make two. Now the E sound, this would be most common, but in this lesson, we're going to only be using the EY. And as you can see, it comes after that double L, which is going to be the typical pattern. And we're going to pretend that a trelly is an animal. We'll make it up. So trelly is an animal, and then your word is also an animal. Your word is sprelly. Go ahead and try to spell Sprelly using what you just learned. Sprelly. Feel free to put it in the chat if you would like. Spre. And I want that first vowel sound to say like exit or elbow. Sprelly. Sprelly. And then it also has these first, make sure your lines correspond with these that I have up here. Make sure you have this same number of lines with your vowels in these spots. So as you can see, these first 3 are consonants. It's a 3-letter consonant blend. Okay, so for Sprelly, we have s, p, e, o, e. I'm going to start my E sound with an E. I can't end it there though, because E can only say if there are 2 consonants after it. If there's not 2, make 2. Now for the E sound, since it's a noun, it's an animal, and it ends with a double L, I'm going to venture to guess that it ends with an EY. That'll be my most educated assumption. All right, number 2. Our word, which is a trip. I decided that our number 2 is going to be a trip, like a journey. It is spenny. Spenny. S-p-e. Okay, are you with me so far? Make sure you have the same number of lines as me. We're going to do the consonants first. S-p-e-e. I'm going to start spelling my S sound with an E. That can't say yet because there's not 2 consonants after it, so I'm going to make 2 consonants. And then the E sound at the end of nouns that end with an N right before it is often an EY. So there is spenny. Very good. Okay, yours is also a trip. This one is specifically a trip to Finland, I've just decided. And your word is flenny. Flenny. Make sure your lines, you have the same number as me. Flenny. You guys are getting too good. Either that or I need to step up my difficulty level a little bit. Flenny. And my mouth is open in the middle. So sometimes it's hard with this mic to tell if I'm making an N or an M sound. So my mouth is remaining open in the middle, so it's an N sound. Flenny. Okay, so flenny, we have our 2-letter consonant blend right here. Full, then then N, and E. I'm going to start spelling my S sound with an E. I can't stay there though because this E would say E the way it's written right now. I want it to say which requires 2 consonants, which aren't there yet, so I'm going to put them there. And then the E sound at the end of nouns with an N sound right before it is often spelled EY. So what you're learning so far is kind of complex. I've taught you a lot so far. This EY spelling pattern is not the easiest. The Y sound, the Y lesson from last time, that was a nice straightforward lesson, right? The E sound at the end of longer words is usually spelled with a Y. Bam, thank you ma'am, done. But then we bring in this little EY option, which has some kind of complicated requirements, right? It has to be at the end. It's usually at the end of a noun. And it usually, all these usuallys follows an N a double L, or a K. So yeah, if you're picking this up already, then well done. But I'm going to continue to repeat and repeat and repeat so that pretty soon it won't seem so complicated. It will seem a lot more clear. The more you hear it, the more you'll get it. So number 3, your word is a bird, I've decided, and it is called an enele. Enele. All of those vowel sounds are E's. Enele. So I'm going to do this one with you. N, L, E. I can tell it's a 3-syllable word because there are 3 vowels that don't touch. I'm going to start by putting my consonant sounds in. N, L, E. Okay, so I'm going to start spelling my sound with an E. I can't stop there, however, because requires 2 consonants. If there's not 2, make 2. I'm going to spell my second sound with an E. You guys in the chat, very good, you're fast. I can't say yet because it requires 2 consonants. If there's not 2, make 2. And then the E sound at the end of nouns that comes right after a double L is often spelled with an EY. Okay. I like the nods. Sometimes I get some nods. That gives me encouragement. That means you're slowly getting it little by little. Number 3 for you is good. Epele. Epele. Again, it's a bird. Epele. Epele. Beautiful. It must feel so good to finally be getting this. Look at how many consonants you have after your vowels. Okay, so we have p, l, e. I want this e to say which requires 2 p's. I want this e to also say which requires 2 l's. And then EY is the most common way to spell the E sound after a noun with a double L before it. There we go. Good job, Anne-Marie. Okay, let's do, I don't have any Ks. K is also one of those sounds. Let me just make this one a K. Oh, I can't. That's right. I couldn't give you a K sound with a K because I haven't taught you that you can't have K after a short E before it. That's another lesson. So you're going to learn that a little further on. I want you to spell things right. I don't want you to have a double K. There's no double Ks in our language. So your last word is prelly. Prelly. I'll let you do this one on your own. Actually, I think we can sneak 2 more words in here. Prelly. Prelly. There we go. Oh, I decided that this is a coat. It's a really fancy coat. So random. No logic, whatever. Okay, so we have that consonant blend at the beginning. Per, e. This E requires 2 L's, and the E sound is usually spelled EY if it comes after a double L word that's a noun. That's a mouthful. Wait till you try to teach this to somebody else. All right, now I think we can do one more. I want this one to be a little bit longer. Streamelly. Streamelly. Go ahead. Streamelly. Good. Oh, I hope you guys feel good about your progress. Beautiful. Street, that E sound. So think about how many vowels you want and how many consonants you want. So stream Ellie. I'm missing a line. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but you guys got it without me being accurate. Go ahead and correct me whenever I'm wrong, because I'm, who's perfect? Certainly not me. Okay, so st, stree, st, e, l, e. So I want this first E to say E. Can it there? Yeah. Yeah, it can, because there's another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. I want this E to say eh. Can it there? Nope. It requires 2 consonants. I'm going to put 2 consonants to force that E to say eh. Now this is a fancy coat. It's a noun. It's coming after a double L. I'm going to use an EY to spell that E at the end. Do you feel equipped now, a little more than you were 30 minutes ago, to know about the E spelling at the end of words? It's usually in a Y, but once in a while in words like turkey, monkey, money, honey, attorney, kidney, valley, what else? Journey, jockey, chimney. There's that N. Then you're going to use that EY. Those are all nouns, and Y's at the end of other words are usually descriptors. So hopefully you feel a little more equipped with knowing when to put Y versus EY. We're going to continue learning more about that as the month progresses. But if you can get through this lesson, you are golden. If it's still a little hazy, watch the recording, because boy, that repetition is really just going to solidify it. Okay, we good? All right, sayonara until Thursday, and hopefully I'll see you over in the reading class in just a bit. Bye, everybody.